Now, giving from a kingdom perspective is an act of love, firstly. Secondly, it's an act of worship and obedience that reflects God's character and acknowledges his provision. So whenever we give, we acknowledge that God is our provider. Amen? The churches get a little stiff whenever you talk about giving. So let me see if I could soften this atmosphere a little bit. Now, you've got to understand that many of you in this congregation are givers. Truth be told, you're givers. You believe in giving. Let me see your hand if you believe in giving. And so today I am not here so much to tell you or coerce you into giving, but it's more so to let you see the qualitativeness of giving and the blessings behind giving, because sometimes in life we are faced with some extenuating circumstances that could kind of cause us to say, should I give? Should I not? Should I pay this bill or should I give? True? And truth be told, you ought to give to God first. Anyone agree with me? You ought to give to God first. He deserves that. He deserves that. So when we give, we also reflect God's character and acknowledge his provision. It is rooted in the belief that all things ultimately belong to God and that Christians are stewards of what he has entrusted to them. Giving is not limited to money. I want to say it again. Giving is not limited to money. I want to say it to someone again. Giving is not limited to money. It includes time, talents, resources, hospitality, and service. So therefore now, God is calling us to give of our time. He's calling us to give of our talents. He's calling us to give of our resources, our hospitality, and our service. Now, I want to say this. The first principle of giving is this. Giving acknowledges God's ownership and the lordship, that God owns everything. See, whenever you determine to give, you ought to give because it ain't yours in the first place. God has made you a steward over it. You see what I'm saying? And whenever you acknowledge that fact, I believe that it is easier for you to release because he has only called you to manage it. And when you manage it well, you become what is known as a conduit. The blessings of the Lord now is transferred through you to others. And so God will continue to supply so that you could continue to be this kingdom supplier.